Gangsters and drug dealers. And if you're none of those, then you must be a coach and a practitioner. Welcome back to the C2C podcast. It is that kind of day. We're going to have fun on this episode today. Fun as I talk to you about all of the things that no one tells about hitting the successes inside of your practice and your coaching business. Because there are a lot of challenges that come through growth, more challenges that actually come than being stuck. So I wanted to address some of the typical ones that I saw in my business and also that I see with a lot of the coaches that I work with inside of C2C. And it's such a beautiful process when it comes to growth. I can tell you there are people who have a love-hate relationship with growth, where they're like, every time they experience a challenge, they're like, man, like again, now I have to deal with teams. I have to deal with a higher level of like client expectations. I have to deal with like always building out new programs. And it's like, sure, you can think of it that way, or you can think of it like the way that I like to see it, which is like, these are opportunities that you are actively seeking, and for you to make more money, make more impact, like you're going to have to grow. You're going to have to be a new person. You're going to have to learn. However, though, I wish that people had informed me ahead of time about these things that like no one tells you about hitting success in your practice, because it's like you can really get caught up really easily with these. And it took me 6 years in my business for me to transition out of these sticking points. Even though every single one of these things was really great, it meant that I had a successful business that was being built. So I hope by sharing these things with you guys that you'll be able to also like put a pin on like, hey, where in my business am I seeing this? What is happening right now? Put a finger to the pulse and then make a decision on it. Like most coaching practices and most health coaching period, you get to a point where, and this is where kind of the first thing is, you start networking. Maybe you have a high level of social media. You're like maybe like a really good Facebook ads person. Doesn't matter. You're drawing in leads, you're getting clients. And then the first thing that you do is you look to fill your one-on-one spots. And then once you do that, you're like, holy shit, I have no one-on-one spots left. And then you find yourself, like I found myself with a calendar of like, I have 35 calls back to back this week. I've got client notes that I have to do. I have client delivery that I have to handle to them and hand to my team. And then it's like, holy cow, I'm out of one-on-one time. And now I found myself working in the business instead of on it. And this is really what we call the capacity trap inside of a business. Like, this is something that you should be celebrated for, because being full, like having a cap in your one-on-one spots, always having coaching from like 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., having sessions that are back to back, that is a good problem. This means that people trust you. It means that you deliver results. It means that you're good at providing the service. And it also means that your message is speaking to the right level of people. So that's cool. But that fullness actually becomes a very thing that caps your growth, because you happen to hit a time ceiling. And that time ceiling is like, you can't keep trading more one-on-one time and still build your business at the same time. And this is where a realization came to me, which is like, holy crap, my business relies totally and entirely on my presence. If I'm not the one doing the client delivery, if I'm not the one working with the clients, if I'm not the one that's giving all of the coaching calls and I'm not creating these programs together, if I'm not the one doing the marketing, then I stopped getting leads. I stopped getting people coming into the programs. I stopped getting people working with me. And so everything was tied directly to me. So what I was once almost praying and hoping for, because we all pray for that. We all pray for like, hey, I would love to see this empty practice or this business into a space where like, holy cow, we got back-to-back sessions. That's what you asked for, which is great. And I asked for it at that time when we had the studio. It was 18 one-on-one spots. And then I had a couple of semi-private spots as well too. And we hadn't done any group programs at that point. But in building that out, it's like, holy shit, I got full. And once you get full, this is where you have to start thinking to yourself and say like, okay, this full client roster that I have now feels like a cage, because every time I'm working one-on-one with someone, every time I'm doing client delivery, I'm not doing things that actually grow my business. And despite what you think as a health coach and a practitioner, working one-on-one with your clients is not what grows the business. Like, client delivery is a part of you providing the results and the service, which keeps clients clients coming. That's retention, that's nurture, providing results is important, but that's actually not what grows your business. What grows your business is consistent new clients signing up, it's daily sales, and it's promotion and marketing. Because if you don't have new clients coming in all the time at regular intervals, if you don't have constant promotions coming out that will attract those people to become potential clients, then once your clients finish their treatment or their care with you, guess what? You're going to be on the hunt searching for people over and over again. And so this was a really big wake-up call for me, because I came to this quick understanding, like, holy cow, I'm busy with clients, but being busy doesn't equal being scalable. You have to then take a look at your one-on-one time and say, well, what is the type of business that I want to be? For me, I chose to move online, which was incredible, and open up group programs and opportunities where I could scale past that. And this is really where you start asking the questions of, like, how can I transition from trading my one-on-one time to actually make more of an impact with my message? And there are a lot of coaches and practitioners who, when they're talking with me, they're like, yeah, but like one-on-one is just the way I operate, or that's my modality. That's the only way that people can get results with me. And I would have you challenge that, because like, whether it's a chiropractor, whether it's physiotherapist, whether it's a nutritionist, a naturopathic doctor, there are always things that you can do and programs you can put people in to lead them up to care. And there's also programs that you can put them in to have like a maintenance process where they can maintain the result that they got working with you. And that doesn't have to have your finger on the pulse or take your one-on-one time all the time. These are maintenance programs. And another thing too is, like, clients want to learn other things from you. So you just focusing on one thing and just focusing on the delivery actually limits the amount of growth within them, because they want to see other things from you as well. So I hit the one-on-one cap very quickly. It was the first year of my business, and that's when I was like, okay, now I have to transition from being the practitioner. I have to transition from being the coach who was actually in it to, like, now I have to start saying to myself, well, how do I step into the CEO role? How do I start creating programs that take less of my time but still allow me to continue to scale? Because besides having other programs, for me, a natural partnership was like connecting with other professionals to get referral fees from, which was great. And then also as well too, looking at like supplements. Supplements was a thing that we integrated with our business, because it was kind of that one-on-one, and I was making recommendation anyways. All of these things are things that can add like multiple thousands of dollars to your bottom line. And if people are always going from like program to program, then it keeps them in your world longer, which also stabilizes your revenue too. Now, as I had this full roster and I'm looking at this like, holy cow, my client base is so full, I'm looking to transition them into different programs to save more of my time. What I found when I started to look at the client journey and the process, and this was over the span of about a year, year and a half, I found that I was working with the same number of clients quarter after quarter, but my revenue wasn't actually growing. So I found that there was a natural cap with anywhere between 75 to 85 people that I could work with in my single sphere as an individual before like quality of results started to drop or people started to drop off. And here's the thing, I mean, people don't just drop off of your programs, or they don't just stop seeing you because they don't like you. Normally it's because they finish care. Like, you're successful, you provide a result, you're good at what you do. And so what happens is they naturally at some point in their transition, if you don't have other programs or if you don't have other ways to work with them, they're going to do your one thing, see a result, be super thankful, and then they're going to transition and finish with your service. So what I was finding is not only was I super rammed, but I was finding that our average client was only staying 3 to 4 months, long enough for them to say the result, and then they were going away. And this is something that a lot of practitioners don't look at. It's something called churn. So this is the amount that which a new client will come in, how long they stay before they drop off. You want to have a positive churn rate, meaning if your natural process inside of your program is like 16 weeks or 24 weeks, you want people to not only stay for that time, but you want them to stay longer. Because if it takes you longer to get a client than it gets you longer to keep working with that person, then that's called a negative turn. So let's say, on your social media, media, someone sends you a message and they're like, I've been seeing your stuff for 6 months. And during this time, it's taken me 6 months to decide to work with you. And then they only work with you for 16 weeks. That's a negative churn. It took you longer, or it took you longer for you to be able to actually like get that person than it did for you to work with them. And negative churn is basically if more clients leave than more clients sign up, then guess what? You're going to slowly dwindle down your client base. So my churn was basically like a break even. I found that I was getting the same amount of clients with the same amount of people finishing off. And I really recognized kind of a couple of things. Like I recognized that I was constantly backfilling like the same 8 to 10 people to like fill open spots. So week after week, as people finished up, I replaced those spots. So of course, my revenue wasn't going to grow. My revenue was stagnant because technically I'm working with the same amount of people, and I'm building a business model that basically is resetting itself after every few months instead of stacking. The whole purpose of being able to build a coaching business and a practice is for you to be able to grow consistently, where you're working with more and more clients, where you're making more and more revenue, for then you to decide if you want to build a bigger and bigger team or if you want to expand in a different way. So if you have a model where the same amount of people come out and come in, if you're okay with that, and that's like, hey, look, I'm happy to make my $35,000, $45,000 a month and it's stationed and I pay out all my people and that's great, that's awesome. But if you're someone who's like, well, no, I want to continue to grow, I want to be that practice that's at 5.5 million, then this is where you have to start saying to yourself, well, I have to change the way that my model is running to go from people are staying in my world for a shorter period to people are staying for a longer time. And I'll tell you something, this isn't about sales. It's not. It's not about I have to sell and find more people to sign up than it is to have them leave, because that is like you're going to have to hustle really hard. And unless you are a very good salesperson to be able to do that, or you have a very good sales team, it's going to be difficult for you to increase your sales past a certain point. So normally when I'm looking and working with coaches, it's not a sales thing. It's actually about the lack of nurture that keeps clients around longer. So when we are working with clients inside of Coach to Coach, it's really about understanding what the client journey is. Like if you have a client that's coming to you for initially like, I have back pain. Cool. Well, the goal isn't just, hey, let's get rid of your back pain. It's also to then strengthen your back so back pain doesn't come up. And then it's for you to then transition into, hey, how do we get you into strength training after this? So there's like multiple phases of the journey. And if you just hyper focus on one phase, you lose a lot of potential to keep a client around. And a client wants to stay with a professional that they know, like, and trust already. So if you're delivering them a result and you've got them back pain free, just as this example, it's very easy for you to say, hey, let's go from back pain free to like strengthen your back so no more pain appears. Let's go from strengthening to your back to let's set a goal of maybe you're going to do your first strength training program, or you're going to run a marathon, you're going to do that swim race that you talked about. All of these things are things that get clients fired up. It keeps them excited and it encourages them to stay longer in your world. And then you can transition away from back pain. Maybe back pain was the thing that was preventing them from working out consistent, which then also was the thing that prevented them from eating consistently. So now all of a sudden you can start talking to them about nutrition tips. You can start talking to them about consistent activity. You can start having miniature programs, maybe about FMS or functional movement patterns. All of these things are things that you can stack on that keep clients around longer. When I had my facility, our clients stayed for an average of 2.5 years. It went from 4 months where people were going in and out to 2.5 years. And I didn't invent problems for them to stick around. I continued to support them in the next and newest level of their journey for them to be fired up and excited to continue to work with us. And that's another thing too, is like you have to continue to nurture these people. You have to keep showing them what's possible after the initial goal and the result. And what I found was, because I was so hyper-focused on only delivering one result, because as a coach, you're like, oh, look, I just really want to show up for these people. I get it. But it's like, you already know how to show the result. Now show them what's possible after that. Encourage them to even dream and forgo these things like short-term wins to long-term ascension. This is where we start saying like, back pain's the first step, but actually the step is for you to be able to run the race that you've always wanted. Back pain is the first step, but actually the real thing is for you to be able to get rid of your sciatica and be able to strengthen your legs. Whatever it is, we can continue to stack on those things. So if we don't have any long-term ascension, and I didn't, and you don't have that good ladder where people can continuously find newer ways and better opportunities to work with you, then guess what? They're not going to stay in your world. And this is where you're going to have a lot of people just do the care and move on. So I found like I needed additional programs. I needed additional ways to support clients. I needed to bring in other team members that can maybe help in different areas that I couldn't bring in. And this is the best part about it, is like there are so many different ways that you can support your client. And a lot of pros that I speak to are like, well, I'm only really good in one area. It's like, look, if you are a practitioner, you know enough about health to keep you healthy. You know enough about nutrition. You know enough about activity. You can offer them seminars. You can do things in addition to build up and value their experience. There's no reason why you should just put yourself into a box and be like, no, I should just do this single thing. Now, in going through this process and being able to finally get into a space where clients were staying longer, I then hit kind of my next ceiling, which was like, okay, clients are staying longer, my recurring revenue is stacking, but I'm still super tight on time. I had absolutely no time. No weekends. I had every single evening. It was like 8 to 10 p.m. that I was finishing every single day. And I was like, this is great. Like, we're making great money and I'm having a hell of a fun time watching the amount of clients go up. But there's got to be a way that I can make more money without tying it to more time. And there is a way to do it. It's just I didn't have a plan. And this is where most practitioners tend to get stuck. They think to themselves, well, the only way that I can do this is by offering another program, offering another service, or extending the length of care. That is not time independent. So that means that's not going to be income independent. That still relies on you. It still relies on a potential team member. And it still means that you're going to have to be heavily in the business in the day-to-day every single day. That's not stepping into CEO mode. And sure, I'll tell you, as the first person who loves being the coach inside of the business, I still work with people one-on-one, and we only work one-on-one for this reason. But I have designed my systems and I've designed all of the other things around me, including my team members, to help me facilitate that. So I'm not answering emails. I'm not doing these like hour-long orientations. All of our billing is automatic. A lot of the stuff that I take and remove all of the work so that way I can focus on what I'm doing to take my time back. When I'm doing master classes and seminars to bring in new potential leads, I'm doing that for the masses. I'm not doing it for a handful of people. And then I have things like my social media, which speaks to thousands of people, the YouTube channel that speaks to thousands of people. And I do this because I recognize that I can spend 1 hour there and get more out of it than I will if I spend 1 hour doing a one-on-one thing. So you need to say to yourself, what is the type of business that I want to build for myself? Do I want to build a one-on-one business? There's nothing wrong with that. If you do, you got to significantly increase your price, like triple it. You got to be happy taking 50 to 65 clients a year and then go all in, but not even 100%, like 1,000% deliver on those people and keep them in your world forever. People will continue to stay, talk about the long-term care part of it, and it's very simple for you to do that. Or you have to say to yourself, is this where I step into the CEO version and I start to develop a team? If I got to develop a team, does it look like having other people do the coaching, or does it look like me doing the coaching and someone else does sales, someone else does social media, someone else does content? This is called buying back your time. Lorna and I, my wife, we spent I'd say the last 6 months of the hormone coaching business buying back our time, hiring VAs, bringing the right people in, making sure we had the right systems. And we did this understanding that if I go and I pay someone $3,000 for a salary, but I'm saving 30 hours, I can get so many more clients with 30 hours than I can with 10. So that $3,000 allowed us to make $35,000 to $35,000. That's how we look at that cost acquisition. This is how we looked at like, how is it that we can actually continue to scale and grow this? But you do have to ask yourself, well, what is my plan for this business? And I think that was another thing that I didn't have, and it's kind of like connected to this, is like when I built the business, I was like, I just want to help people. Like I was just full true coach. I just want to help people. And then halfway through, I was working with a mentor, and he's like, so like, what's your objective here? Is it to sell? Is it to pass on? Do you want to build a team? Do you want to do this solo? What is it that you're looking for from this? And I was like, holy shit, I have no idea. I don't know, because I just focused on filling up my one-on-one time. I just focused on filling the actual business, which is a good thing. But it's like, no, we actually have to look at what we want. And I know what I wanted. I love the ability to be able to travel 3 to 5 times a year. Japan, Costa Rica, Florida was last year. It was beautiful. Now we're going to be going to Portugal in August, which is really exciting. And then I hope that I can do the men's retreat sometime in September. And we got to pick another spot as well too. Lorna wants to do Italy, but we'll see what the timing is on that. But it's like when I look at the life that I want to live and I want to be able to travel, I've also told Lorna, like, I'm the type of guy, because Lorna's pregnant right now, I want to be the person who shows up for every single baby appointment. I also want to be the person and the father who can show up to every soccer game and every practice and be fully present. In order for me to do that, I have to have a system and I have to have a process and I have to have a team, people to support me to make sure that that happens. So when I'm at a game, when I'm with Lorna to dinner, when I'm at a friend's house, when we're traveling, I'm all in and I'm in the moment and I'm fired up. And then when I'm working with our coaches and on our practitioners, I'm all in on them. That's what clarity looks like to me. Clarity looks like being able to have the ability to have my mortgage fully paid off at the age of 40, which we're on track and that's super exciting, and to have a spot in Costa Rica where we can go 6 months out of the year and go back and forth. When I started to envision that life, and then I looked at the business that I had built, I was like, well, I can't take off weekends. I'm stuck from 6 to 8 p.m. every single day. If someone calls in sick, okay, well, I guess I have to cover them. Well, that's not that vision. That's not even close to that vision. That's not even the way that it was built. And don't get me wrong, I love working. I love being able to do coaching every single day, but coaching is not just, it's not your entire life. It is a part of your life. And this is where you have to say to yourself, well, what is the definition of my business? So because I didn't have a plan, I just focused on filling it, and then I had to make the plan along the way. So it's like, if you have a plan, whether it's an exit at 50, whether it's you want to travel the world, whether it's you want more freedom with your family, this is where then you can start to leverage other things outside of one-on-one time. You can start to leverage different programs. You can start to run monthly offers. You can start to package all of your trainings, your seminars, and your master classes. You can offer different IP and products, even software. That type of stuff is stuff that is very valuable to other people in your space. But if you don't know what you're building it for, then you're not really going to know how to position those things, which is where you can get stuck with, to be like, well, what should it be? Should it be a self-paced course? Should it be a program? And that's a big thing. And what I'll tell you is, if you do not have the clarity right now with where you want your business to go, stop creating more offers. Don't. Step away from the offers and start focusing on the systems to get you back that time in that space. Make your current offers go further. And then from there, when you have space, start to envision what your life would be like if you started being less inside of the business and more in the CEO business. Because if everything depends on you, it's not scalable. It's actually something that's really fragile. And I learned that because, like, holy cow, every time we lost a teammate, every time someone took a day off work, I was like, oh man, like, I'm stuck. I have to move my whole schedule of my whole life just to accommodate these things. Now, through this entire process, and I had my hormone coaching company for 8 years, holy shit, because the first 2 was in-home training. Going through this process, I recognized, like, I was constantly searching for new clients. And although people stayed for a really long time, the number one thing that was the challenge with all of the mentors that I was working with is like, how do I get new clients? How do I get new clients? How do I get new clients? Over and over again. And I recognized, like, I didn't have an attraction engine. I really didn't have a way to have people in the pipeline all the time without me. I was the one doing the searching. I was the one doing the hunting. I was the one reaching out to people. And that to me shows a level, especially inside of a business, like, that's client hunger versus client magnetism. You really need to be able to, whether it's through your social media, whether it's through your webinars, whether it's through like actually building a community and a tribe inside of your business, you need to design your marketing where you can have client magnetism. And I didn't have that. I didn't have people in that moment daily reaching out saying like, hey, what is it like to work with you? I always had to work to find those people. And then when you don't have that, when you don't have the content like that, or you don't have an engine to build that authority running, then it forces you to stay in hustle mode. So even though we were filled and all of our time slots were really busy, and I'm sure you're filled right now, it's like you're still looking for people, asking for people, trying to find people. And it's like you get out of that when you start creating client converting content that's so powerful that people are drawn to you. You get out of that when you start building a tribe inside of your business with proper nurture where people start referring like-minded people to you. That's how you get people that start coming over and over again. But it really is about building a culture. It's about building an authentic message. It's about showcasing more of you. Because I'll tell you, like, if your lead strategy right now is like word of mouth or it's direct referral, like that's great, but it's really inconsistent. It's really inconsistent. And especially if you're someone who on top of that doesn't have a big audience, you need to create a better reason for the right people to come to you consistently. This is where creating something like a value draw that I talk with our members inside of Costa Coach is so important. Whether it is a free seminar, a live training, like we could call it a bunch of fancy names, but it's really about how do you provide value on autopilot. So when you are doing things like coaching, people are always finding your world. They're always going to your pages. They're always learning more from you. They're seeing you as the authority. You're showing them your life. You're showing them how you live. And they're like, hey, I really like this person. I really trust this coach. You know what? If I'm going to invest, I am going to invest in that person. And this is where people are going to start to come to you consistently. So we did it in two ways. Lorna did it from social media and did it from organic. And for me, I did it from just straight up providing value. I started the Hormone Helper podcast and it's still running to be able to help people with health, and tons of people found me through there. And now we have over 4,400 subscribers on that podcast just listening over and over again. Even though I'm not doing that anymore, there are still people who are actively listening to that and to that audience. That's why I started the YouTube channel, because what a great way to be able to connect with you guys, practitioners and coaches, to just showcase like, hey, here are things that you can do. And you can do this as well too. You don't need to be someone fancy. Like, you just need to decide that you are the person. You need to decide like, hey, I'm going to be the chiropractor. I'm going to be the personal trainer in my space. I'm going to be the naturopath, and I'm going to step in. I'm going to deliver a shit ton of value. I'm going to make sure that I record it so I can put it in nurture sequences over and over again. And I'm going to keep showing up for people. So whether it's the 10th time they've seen me or the first time they've seen me, they're going to be all in with this. And if you look at those 4 areas and you start going through each and every one of these, being full on time, running out of the space capacity, aspect of, holy cow, like constantly searching for clients, and even like trying to make money without taking in more time. All of these things are things that are good. And I want to say this up front. Like, these are not like, oh, poor me challenges to have. Like, you're amped that you're full. You're amped that you're busy. You're pumped that your schedule is absolutely jacked. But the reason why I share this with you guys is because if someone had told me this up front, I would have built my business differently. Because what's happening right now is not like, oh, my business is broken, it's not working well. Like, no, you have clients, people are signing up every day. Like, that's a really good thing. Okay. But what's happening right now is you've outgrown the way that you've designed your current business. That's it. The way that you've built your business and the way that you are now leaves everything 100% reliant on you. You're doing a lot of quick decisions on the fly. You're putting out a lot of fires. You're working with the same amount of clients quarter after quarter. And that's not the best kind of growth. Like, that's not going to be the thing that takes you to a self-led practice. It's not going to be the thing that builds a team. It's not going to be the thing that gives you freedom. At least it wasn't for me. Now, sure, you can just hustle more, 100%. You can hustle, you can get temporary results, you can make an extra, 10 or 20K for the next 2 or 3 months, but then you're going to go and take a vacation, your income's going to take a hit, your business is going to have a lull, and that's not something that's needed. So with this, it's about recognizing, like, maybe you have one of these challenges, maybe you have all four of these challenges. These challenges mean that you're growing, they're great, but you have to deal with them one-on-one, and you have to make sure that you're solving each and every one of these. Don't step over them, because what'll happen is you'll get to a point where, again, you'll be capped on your time. This is always about time. It's always about your income, which is the level of value that you provide. And all of these things are connected. You need to be able to take back your time so you can live your freaking life. That allows you to show up more powerfully for your people, which means that they're going to get fired up to stay longer with you. And that's how you build a successful business. So I wanted to showcase this for this episode. Thanks, guys, for watching. Let me know in the comments which one maybe you have going on in your business. Maybe you have multiple going on in your business, and I'd also love to hear as well too what you're doing about it. So are you running a self-paced program? Are you starting up a course? If you're watching this on YouTube, drop it in the comments as well, and then of course I'm happy to engage with you there. Thanks for watching this episode, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.